My wife cheating on our 10-year anniversary. My wife and I were married 10 years ago yesterday. She has been working on a big project for the last few months. The last 4 weeks or so she has been putting in extra time, staying late, going in early, to finish up by deadline. This is a career maker for her. I work construction. With the rain we have had, we have crazy hours trying to make up time that we missed. So I work 12 hours a day. It's nice sometimes a little longer. If it's raining when I get up, I don't go in. Some days we get sent home when it starts. Too dangerous. I usually hit the gym for an hour or two. Thursday we started at 6 a.m. Mid-morning it started to rain hard. We go home. I go to the gym as usual. I cut the workout short and head downtown to see wife Megan, to give her flowers and make plans for dinner that night if possible. We really haven't seen much of each other this week. I went to bed at about 9 p.m. She wasn't home, and called me earlier saying she was working late. Not unusual for the past month. I stopped and got some flowers and went into her building about 12:30. Nicole was at the receptionist desk. I told her I got here later than I wanted. Could she put the flowers on Megan's desk? She said, I don't think they went to lunch yet, why not drop them off yourself? She buzzed the door to get back to the office. The place was deserted. I went to her office, and the door was closed. I always walk in unless the receptionist tells me she is in a meeting. I walk in and some guy is standing behind her nuzzling her neck. She is reaching back over his head. She is giggling only as much as she can, saying we gotta get this done. I am gut punched. I slammed the flowers down and said happy anniversary and walked out. I didn't hear what she said. Instead, Nicole said goodbye and left. Made it to elevators and out the building, then my phone started ringing. I bawled my eyes out all the way home. Went into the garage, pulled my camping gear out of the rafters, and took off. I drove about 2 hours to a state park. I had no idea what to do. I just had to run. I hiked a trail we have been on in the past, about a 3-hour hike. I don't drink much, so I had no booze. I just sat there thinking. Looking back, I am glad I was in a rush. Normally I bring a .45 cal. With me camping we have black bears, which generally scare off, but get aggressive if hungry or cubs around. The way I was feeling, I might have eaten the barrel that night. My phone was blowing up from Megan, so I had turned it off. I left the park to get reception and turned it on to see my good friend called. I called him back. He said Megan called him to check on me, make sure I didn't do anything stupid. We talked a bit, told him I got to think this through, would catch up on Friday. So while I am thinking about this, I go over our marriage from the beginning to see what I missed. We come from completely opposite backgrounds. My grandfather raised me with my mom. He taught me about life. He had a little saying about everything. He told me marriage would be the hardest job he ever had. You had to work on it every day. God, I miss him. We did not have much, and heard mom and grandpa having many discussions about bills. They worked hard, and my brother and I did not miss out on anything we knew of. Megan was born into money. Not overly rich, but very comfortable. Went to a great college, always had great clothes, and a new car. And she is 11/10 beautiful. I would joke with her if she coughed about the silver spoon getting stuck in her throat. We started dating. I was dumbfounded how such a woman would ever be with me. We dated quite a while before she told me about her parents and lifestyle. Our friends called us the model couple, because they thought we were so good looking we had to be models. Families were not as kind, afraid of the differences economically would come into play. Her dad and I started to get along, but my mom took some convincing. She graduates and gets her first job. We plan on getting married. We work out between us that we would expose each other to the lives that we live. I took her whitewater rafting. She took me to the symphony. We went ziplining. We went to an art opening. We agreed we had to experience the other's interests. She was really enthused about the more physical things we did. I kinda like the symphony and such. I own 2 tuxes now. I look back and do not see any red flags. Her first 2 jobs she quit because the men all tried to get in her pants. She was paraded out in front for photo ops. Invited to conferences when other newbies were not. At dinner at a conference, a partner tried to get her drunk, then tried to force himself into her room that night. She quit. The next job the same thing, quit again. This 3rd job has women as some of the partners, and none of that BS is in her workplace. She seems very happy. We seemed very happy. So now Friday I am home. I called her. Asked where she was back at work. I, being in a smartass mood, said that the marriage is taking second place to her job. She responded, since I would not talk, what was she to do? Fair enough. She will be home in an hour. So I wait. I want to save our marriage. If I am lacking in providing, then I want to fix it. I want to ask why, of course, but I cannot accept an IDK answer. How do I phrase this? What else should I be asking? I know I will get all emotional and forget everything, so over the next few days we will be going over and over this. What she did is wrong, but please no degrading comments. She is still my wife. Thank you in advance. Second story. Just found out my best friend has been secretly dating my ex for months. Cassie and I were together for 5 years. We started dating in high school, and stayed together through college, moved in together after graduation. I've been in love with her since before our first date. She's amazing. I still think so. We were talking about marriage and starting a family soon. Then one day a few months ago, Cassie wanted to talk, sat me down, and said she decided she doesn't want kids. She didn't just mean not now but not ever. She talked a lot about overpopulation or climate change or whatever, but I was just immediately depressed. I've always wanted to be a dad. My dad was a piece of shit, and this is something I've wanted to do ever since I was still a kid myself. When she finished talking, I told her it was over. She started crying and I was already crying, but fuck. If she doesn't want the same thing I do in the future, what else can I do? She said she's been thinking this way for years and Corona was the last straw. I'm not going to wait around and hope she changes her mind when she might not. So I moved out and moved in with my best friend Ryan. We've been friends forever, like we bonded over Pokemon cards at the playground kind of thing. He's basically my brother and his mom was my extra mom since I didn't have much at home growing up. I was in a hurry to move out, so I didn't take much stuff with me, and then I didn't want to go back to the apartment and see Cassie, so Ryan was doing the good friend thing and going to get stuff for me whenever I needed it. At least that's what I thought he was doing. Yesterday would have been me and Cassie's 6th anniversary, and it was really rough for me, so I told Ryan I didn't want to be alone and wanted to hang out and game all day with him. He agreed and everything, but he was kind of distracted on his phone a lot, and after a couple hours he said something came up and just left me there alone. Shit got dark. I'm not ashamed to say I cried. There were reasons I didn't want to be alone that day. Almost midnight last night, Ryan finally came home and was acting weird, so I asked what was up. I thought maybe his mom was sick or something. She's a teacher at a school that just reopened. But no, Ryan sits me down and tells me he's moving out. He's been secretly dating Cassie since a few weeks after we split. He says they're in love already, and that she needs him more than I do. So he's moving into the apartment with her, and leaving me here alone to rot. I don't even know how the fuck to process this. I don't know which one of them has broken me more. To make things worse, I messaged some of our other friends this morning to tell them what's up, and they already knew. When I got upset, they all said it was no big deal, because I'm the one who broke up with Cassie. Where do I even go from here? I can't talk to my friends, my ex broke my heart, my best friend stomped on it, and the closest thing I have to family is gone because they were his family too. I'm lost and don't know where else to turn. Update. Bigger shit to worry about than my broken heart, I guess. Ryan texted me. I'm about to be homeless in a pandemic. Update 2. Thanks so much to everyone reaching out. My inbox is blowing up, but I'm kinda focused on this housing thing first. I'll catch up when I can. Sorry. Rank update. I kind of debated if I'd post an update on this or not. It's been a few weeks and some stuff has happened. But as the post blew up, I got a good number of really shitty comments that informed me I was a worthless piece of shit. That I should beat up my ex-girlfriend. Or alternately, that I was probably already some kind of horrible abuser, who hated her and wanted to control her body. I also got a ton of love, support, PMS offering connections on housing and more, but being I was already in a dark and desperate place, those other comments really twisted the knife. I had to spend some time away, not just fixing my shit but also avoiding that stuff, because it was really not making me want to move forward. For anyone who's reading this while in the middle of a situation, wondering if you should post your story, my advice is don't. Wait till you have some distance, or it's just going to make things worse. One thing I want to clarify here, since a few people swung for the fences based on what I posted, I don't hate Cassie. I don't think she shouldn't move on. I don't blame her for dating someone else after I broke up with her. I do have a lot of anger still thinking about this. All that anger is at Ryan. That's it. Ryan is the one who lied to me and went behind my back, not Cassie. My post pretty clearly stated that I think Cassie is an awesome human being. Still think so. Period. We just wanted different things. So, actual updates. Shortly after I posted, Ryan texted me to say that he'd planned to give me a month to find somewhere else to live, but since I couldn't be happy for them, he wanted me out by Friday. Looking back on it, I kinda think this was his plan all along. Cassie's parents owned the apartment I lived in with her, so we paid bills on it but no rent. Ryan's apartment was expensive and his parents still paid some of his bills there, so I suspect he was looking for an excuse to break his lease and get in on that free rent instead. But I have a place to live now. Reddit helped me out after all, in a weird way. A couple days after I posted, this guy TJ hit me up on FB. Hey TJ, with the link to my post asking if it was me. TJ and I weren't close friends before all this, but he recognized some of the details. Skipping some back and forth, it turns out Ryan lied to all our mutual friends about the situation. Apparently he hooked up with Cassie the first time about a week after we split up. He asked some of our friends what to do, and they all told him to make sure I was cool first thing. He then told them he had talked to me and that I was happy for him. So when I started freaking out a couple months later, my friends all thought I was going crazy out of nowhere over something I'd known about for months. Once they found out what really happened, I got a lot of apology texts. Some of them I've accepted, some are still on read. A couple of guys offered me crash space or help moving, and I wound up staying with TJ, but only till I could find somewhere else. My days of living in places without my name on a lease are over. Learned my lesson there. I found a roommate looking for a place through Craigslist, and we signed the lease last week. Moving from TJ's happens this weekend. Ryan is blocked out of my life. I probably forgot some of my stuff at either his place or Cassie's, but it's whatever. I can get new stuff. I can make new friends. More than anything else, this situation made me realize the importance of having stable, independent housing and not counting on anyone else to do the right thing by me. I have to have my own back in life, not rely on others. That's about all I've got. It's nothing dramatic, I guess. No one was hit by a car, got pregnant, or turned out to be cheating. But I've never been so glad to have a roof over my head and a bed to come back to. I'm going to keep going from here. Keep working on life. And I'm sure as hell going to be taking a break on the dating front. That's all there is to do.